Hey friends, just real quick, we're going into an update right now. This is what I'm going to talk about. Energy lockdowns. I'm going to be talking about this prophecy update, and we better be prepared. I'm going to warn you, don't go rushing to buy toilet paper like COVID, right? I'm going to warn you about all these different things. Energy lockdowns, mega drought, lawlessness. That's all of these things are done, I believe, intentionally to create mass problems and mass confusion so that people will look to a leader, Antichrist. They're going to look to him. Listen, the world is being prepared for that right. I'm going to go into all of these different things. And in the second half, I'm going to get into the full-on alien disclosure. Climate lockdowns I'm going to talk about too. I'll even quote from the previous Pope and even Pope Bob from Chicago. But listen, the alien stuff, I'm going to get into it in the second half of this prophecy update. This stuff is crazy. We are being about ready to be deceived, the world is, in a way that we have never even imagined. Deception is coming. You better be prepared. If you're a believer, hold on to this book. If you're not a believer, get to know this book and get to know the Savior, Jesus Christ. But I'm telling you, deception is coming on a scale that you and I have never witnessed, this world has never witnessed before. We are being prepared. That beast system is coming. It's interesting how the powers that be all have a date of 2030. Everything is fast moving forward. I'm going to explain it all, and we'll get to the alien stuff in the second half and the UFO stuff, the disclosure, because friends, it's coming, and you better hold on to your seat. So let's go. Okay, everybody, let's roll for our Sunday night update. And wow, I'm looking at everything, and it's like deja vu. Everything is coming back with greater force than it did. If you think back to 2020, March of 2020, where we were, think of where we are now, and you go, okay, we've got some serious issues going on. Okay. And they're coming for us, and I'm telling you, and you better be ready, you better be well prepared. There's many people that during the round that came in March of 2020, they became awake. They said, something's not right with this. It seems like there's manipulation that is going on, and I can tell you, friends, that there is. And I believe that the masses of people are being intentionally manipulated. Okay, now let's go back 6 years ago, and then we walked through the process just in the first couple of years, 2020, 2021, 2022, and then all of a sudden, depending on where you lived, of course, whether or not, there were so many people that just went along with it. I mean, they were stocking up on toilet paper. I mean, if it's really the end of the world, is toilet paper your number one concern? But it was. I'm pretty sure it's going to be again because people are messed up. All right, so if you go back to that, some of you woke up during that time. You didn't go woke, you did the opposite. You became awake and you said, something's not right. But something that we warned here, I warned repeatedly, as we started to come out of that globally, so to speak, I said, this is what they've done. They've got data on everybody. Everybody that went along with it just willingly said, hey, let me wear a mask. Excuse me. I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to get the whoop, whoop. So many people just willingly went along with it. But then so many others didn't. For example, I was pastoring the church that I was at for 20 some years, and I said, well, this is nonsense. We're not going along with this foolishness and closing our doors, and some of my other friends did the same thing. And they said, hey, come and arrest us, and all of these idiotic things. You could see through the lies and the manipulation. But what they did is everybody went into a database. Remember that. Everybody who was compliant and just willingly went along. They're in a database, and everybody who didn't also went into a database. The other thing that we constantly warned about is, hey, they're going to learn from their mistakes, them being the leaders. Remember, the World Economic Forum held those different meetings on what to expect if a pandemic suddenly hit. How would you control the people? Remember all that? The pre-meeting was in October of 2019 that it turns out that they had. Remember that one? And then there's been more meetings since then about like a X virus. What are we going to do? And remember the date they keep setting and keep talking about, 2030. Folks, we're less than 4 years away from January 1 of 2030. It's not a mistake these things are happening again. We got UFOs, we got aliens, obviously, with the UFOs. We have the hantavirus. We have energy lockdowns. The climate rules are coming back. The climate laws, the climate lockdowns. They keep talking about that. Now they're talking about these cyber attacks that are going to shut down hospitals. So many different things, right? And you go, so what they did wrong before, they took note of, and they're going to come back. And I said this repeatedly, as some of my other friends did too. They're going to come back with a vengeance. And I look at where we are now, and I really got to wonder a few things. I'm going to walk through the book of Revelation here in a minute. We're going to take, I was going to start Judges, go back into Judges. We just finished Ruth. I was going to go back into that tonight, but I decided this is too much of a big deal. So I want you to think of this. All right, this is what Pope Francis, the last Pope, said. Now we have Pope Bob from Chicago who leads the Catholic world, and many people listen to him. But listen to what he said, Pope Francis, the last Pope. In June of 2015, he called for global regulatory norms, get this, to impose obligations and prevent unacceptable actions, talking about climate laws, but anything else that would fall into that category. And energy would fall into that category, lack of oil. Here's a question to bring up. Just think about, why are gas prices high here in the US now when clearly we are not dependent at all on the Strait of Hormuz? I mean, you think about that and go, hey, why is that? Pope Francis went on and said there's urgent need of a true world political authority, one authoritative oversight and with authoritative oversight and coordination, which lays down the rules for admissible conduct in the light of the global common good. What he wanted was a global government entity that can override nations and override individuals that are acting in their own interests. A global government that is responsive only to a few elite. Friends, this hasn't gone away. What seemed to kind of go under the radar over the last few years never went away. Never went away. It's not a coincidence that all of these things are all happening at the same time. Listen to this. Just a few things. The EU, this is out of Zero Hedge, is pushing driver monitoring cameras. The UK government's plans for 50, here's another article. This is out of Expose News, Expose. The UK government plans for 15-minute cities forge ahead, starting in Bristol. Europeans are fed up and taking it out on their leaders. In other words, we're watching civil unrest. Listen, I even think that's planned. It was planned, it has been planned. Bring in the chaos, blow open the borders, create civil war. If you go back in history and you read how wicked leaders get control, that's how they do it. You bring in the chaos, you bring in the lawlessness. It's also not a coincidence that when we look at the Bible, that Jesus himself said, in those days, speaking of the last days, the time of the tribulation period specifically, lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. Well, we also read that during the tribulation period, the Antichrist gets complete control on the masses. Well, how can you have lawlessness and complete control operating? during the last days. Real easy. You create the chaos, you create the crises, and then you control the outcome. So, friends, excuse me again. This is what we are seeing. To me, it appears that the lawlessness is intentional. Go back and watch the podcast I did this past week. I think it was on Tuesday with Gary McKibben from the UK. We're going to great details on it. It's intentional. So now in the UK, what are they saying over Europeans, or not just UK, but Europeans? This is out of Wall Street Journal. Fed up, taking it out on their leaders. What happens when you create this great lawlessness and people start to kick back against it, push back against it? You create more and more civil unrest in the process. This group against that group, and then government comes along and says, oh, we've got to get control of this. And many people will just say, oh yeah, let me just submit to it. Yuri Bezmenov, quoted him many times lately, a Soviet defector way back in the early 1980s. He said, this is what you do. You demoralize the people. And when you demoralize them, this is how you take over a people group. You demoralize the people. When you demoralize them, they won't even pay any attention to facts. You can give them the facts and they'll completely deny it. Like, we totally see that. Hey, a boy can't have babies. Oh, yes, it's like this. We have been completely demoralized in the West. The West is being taken over, which will affect the world. Gives us more understanding of what's going on with Israel, why the West is not going to be there to help Israel. Wow. Okay, so you look at this, you demoralize, can't tell facts from truth. They don't want to hear facts. Facts don't matter. After you demoralize, and then you I can't remember what the next one is. Destabilize, that's what it is. Demoralize, then you destabilize. What the heck do you think has been happening in the UK or over in Europe where you blow open the borders? Exactly. What was the Biden administration doing here? And what is really going on behind the closed doors here in the US? We're going to get to that in a minute too. I mean, there's some weird things. There is a push towards globalism. Okay, now, so you demoralize, you destabilize, friends, and then he said you create a crisis. What happens when you create a crisis? The people start to say, we need a rescuer, and in comes the rescuer. The global beast system, my friends, is being built. Go back 6 years. Everybody went into a database. Those who went along with what happened, those like us who said something is wrong here. They took names and numbers. They're coming back with everything that they can. I'm absolutely convinced of it. All right, we got this virus, we got UFOs, energy lockdowns, climate lockdowns, mega drought, food shortages in much of the US right now. You can't make this stuff up. So let's roll with this. Oh, by the way, what else is happening? The Vatican, Pope Bob from Chicago, sending new signals of openness and outreach to LGBTQ plus Catholics. This mass religious soup, I guess. You can see Revelation chapter 17, the woman who rides the beast, that began back at the Tower of Babel, has followed us through the history of the world. And it's this very interesting mix of the spiritual dynamic that the beast and the beast system, the 10 kings, will use in order to get control of the masses as they demoralize, destabilize, create a crisis, and then you bring in big government. We are here, the elites are here to rescue us. All right, let's go here. Hantavirus. What is hantavirus? Very interesting. Here's check this out. CDC alerts U.S. doctors to be aware of potential imported cases of hantavirus. Okay, don't want to stop here. Got to get over to UFOs in a minute. However, let's go here first. I want to talk about Trump and what has he done. As early, it was in May, So we're in May now. What are we, May 10th or something like that? Oh, by the way, sorry, happy Mother's Day. This isn't exactly a happy Mother's Day message, but sorry if you're here in the U.S. It's Mother's Day. As early as May, reports emerged that U.S. intelligence officials held private briefings with a group of American pastors to prepare them for the potential public release of government files concerning UFOs, extraterrestrial life, and according to some claims, being described as non-human intelligence. Oh, wait a minute. I want to get the Hanavirus first. We're going to come back to that stuff. Okay, with the Hanavirus, global health authorities are working to contain an outbreak of Hanavirus aboard the MV Hondias cruise ship. The total number of confirmed cases associated with the outbreak is increasing. Health officials said to date, 3 people who were aboard the ship are known to have died from the virus. More than 100 passengers remain on the ship. And the World Health Organization, remember them? The World Health Organization and the CDC, Center for Disease Control. Wow, well, this is reassuring. World Health Organization is monitoring their health, the 100 people on the ship. Officials said that the overall public health risk remains low, but that there may be some person-to-person spread. I mean, does this sound like it's deja vu? Because we're starting to hear from everywhere, and you better be afraid. You better be very, very afraid. Check this out. Here's some facts. I think the Hanavirus, if you actually get it, the mortality rate is like 40% or something like that. Here's the problem. It's how you get hantavirus. Basically, you got to be playing with rats and rat poop and ingesting it, like eating rat poop, breathing in the rat. I mean, who does that? So, I mean, you got to be in a rat-infested area. That's how this stuff is contracted. Yeah. You are 7 times more likely to die from being hit by lightning than you are to catch the virus. 7 times more likely than to catch the virus because of the way that you have to catch it. Okay, so Hanavirus, you hear a lot more about it. I'm telling you right now, COVID was a trial run. I guess still got to be careful what I say about these things. It was a trial run. I think I can say that much. They're coming back. Come back with vengeance. 2030 is their date. Okay, what else are we dealing with? We are dealing with energy lockdowns. We're hearing about that all over the world. Again, I just got to simply ask this question regarding energy lockdowns. Why is it that the U.S. gas prices are as high as they are? I think that's a good question because apparently we're not dependent on anything from the Strait of Hormuz. And the Trump administration is starting to sell to Western nations. Shouldn't that mean that things, our costs should actually be going down here in the U.S.? The U.S. is increasing their wealth over this? I don't know. I just have a lot of different questions. Some of these things don't make a lot of sense. Okay, with that, also, what is happening, I mentioned this in the beginning, out of Zero Hedge, the EU is pushing driver monitoring cameras, right? So what that does is if you're, for various reasons, and I hear they're starting to appear here in California, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything official on that yet, but some friends of mine that are in the know, they're saying, no, they're already here. They're operating. For example, when we were in Australia a couple years back, I remember asking our friend John, why is everybody going the same speed? He said, it's all these cameras. They monitor you constantly. They monitor if you're wearing a seat belt. You get a ticket in the mail if you aren't complying with all of the rules and regulations. And then I find out here in California, from what I hear, again, I'm trying to get evidence to prove it, but my friends on the inside scoop tell me it is already happening here. Maybe it's a test run. But constantly, there's cameras. They're going to be watching us everywhere. Already started. For same reason, seatbelt, how fast you drive. Of course, it's always for your safety. Remember that everything is about for your safety. Okay, with that, to the point where the systems are actually able, they're also going to know if you're on your phone, and where your phone is in your car. This gets kind of creepy because apparently you can take pictures inside your car. Obviously already the seatbelt issue, but you look at your phone, it can tell if your phone is in your pocket. This is wild. Or if it's somewhere else, or if you've used it, apparently something with this technology can tell if you've used your phone in your car within the last 10 minutes. So this is getting weird. So we start having all of these various controls. We know that there are vehicles now that have shut off systems based on AI technology. If it appears you might be impaired or you shouldn't be driving at that moment, it won't let you drive. This stuff is already apparently in the works, started here. So years ago, I was teaching a Bible prophecy conference in 2018, so 8 years ago. And I said, this is what's going to happen. Cars are going to be coming, where during the tribulation period, you're going to be going in your car, driving along the freeway or wherever you are in the world, driving along the road, and you're a problem because you didn't receive the mark of the beast or you're not going along with the system or whatever it is. With that, your car will lock you in, and your car will take complete control. And all of a sudden, you're going to get pulled, the car's going to pull you over. You're going to try to get out of your car. You're not going to be able to. It has become a prison until the authorities get there to arrest you. And I told that. This guy came up to me and he said, that is simply not true. You're just scaring people. He said, I work in Silicon Valley. He's telling me, I said, dude, it's true. I mean, I'm already seeing all of these things everywhere. He got upset with me. Well, guess what? Here we are. And I wish I could confront that guy again. That's the reality of everything that's going on. We have energy lockdowns. These things are coming. That goal is 2030. By 2030, you'll have nothing. You'll own nothing and be happy. You're going to have to rent everything. You look at the price of real estate right now. If you're a young person, there ain't no way. If you didn't buy a home a long time ago, you ain't getting into the market. There's no way. I look at the prices of real estate for small houses that aren't all that great in the area that I live in. I live in a more economically depressed area of California. And I go, even out here, it's outrageously expensive. Who actually makes enough money to be able to pay for these houses? And then you start looking at the cost of bread. You start looking at the cost of everything you do. Right now is a really good time to not eat as much. Praise God, I've changed how much I eat. But I look and go, it's outrageous. It's getting to the point where we are being priced out of everything. And I do believe these things are intentional. So what do we have? We have hantavirus. I'm expecting to see masks again. I'm expecting to see all of this stuff come back. In fact, I'm already starting to see more masks again. We have this, okay, now let's go to the mega drought that is happening over much of the US. And we watched the farms being shut down in Netherlands. Remember all that stuff going on for all of you living over in Europe and the Netherlands? The pressures against Canadian farmers and US farmers is pretty extreme. But then you start looking and going, okay, now they're saying, okay, there's this mega drought affecting the US. What's that mean? It means prices go up more. It means you're going to start to find a hard time buying bread, getting food. We know the cows are being eliminated. Have you checked the price of meat? Remember that if you go back about 4 or 5 years and you listen to our postings, mine, 6 years. In fact, this book was written in 2016. Were America in the New World Order. I talked about all of these things coming way back in 2016. Now we look at meat and let's kill all the cows and all this kind of stuff, and you go, And we said everything is going to get really, really, really expensive where only the elite are going to be able to buy the good steaks. That day is coming. And now you start to look at it and go, they're doing it. They're actually doing it. So it's coming from everywhere. And of course, it's always about saving the planet. Remember, think of this, Romans chapter 1, what is it? They worship the creation rather than the creator. So God will give them over to a reprobate mind. I look and go, everything is happening just like the Bible says it's going to happen. All right, we have more to cover. So the mega drought, which will create, they're telling us food shortages. Even if it's not real, the powers that be are going to make sure that it happens. It's not a coincidence that all of these different things are happening at the same time. And I would expect to see a lot more lawlessness here in the U.S. to start equal what they have there over in parts of like the UK, for example. Listen, Islam is being used to create the great lawlessness here. All right, we still got to talk about a few other things. Let me go here. Because I still got to get through the book of Revelation because I want to connect everything with you, but I don't want to take up too much more of your time. J.D. Vance holds chilling closed-door summit with America's most powerful men as horrifying global threat menacing hospital spirals. According to a report from the Daily Mail, an April phone call with J.D. Vance brought together some of the world's most influential tech executives as concerns over a powerful new AI model intensified. Vance, a long proponent of rapid AI development, delivered a sobering message about the need for restraint to protect vulnerable systems. What's this about? He convened a high-stakes private discussion with leading figures in American technology amid growing fears that advanced artificial intelligence systems could unleash devastating cyber attacks on the nation's critical infrastructure, including hospitals and financial institutions. Okay, sound the alarm, right? Sound the alarm. Thank you, Ricky Scapero, for, Ricky's fantastic. I don't know if you guys know him. You need to, over at End Time Headlines. Put this together. Ricky's all over. Ricky's going to be joining us in Idaho, by the way. Going to be absolutely terrific coming up in just a few weeks. For the first time ever, Ricky's going to be joining us. But you look at this and you go, okay, cyber attacks in hospitals. We're not going to be able to treat. I mean, you start following the thinking, we're not going to be able to treat the people that have hantavirus because we have too many problems. We have terror attacks that we keep hearing about the terror cells going to go after hospitals. So you have all of these different fears. Now we say global or this mega drought is coming that's going to affect food shortages here in the U.S. because the U.S. won't have as many food shortages as other countries do. Well, let's make sure the U.S. is involved. So we got this mega drought. True or not, man, we are heading into these things. My fear is that people are going to panic. Don't panic. And for goodness sake, whatever you do, don't go out and rush and buy toilet paper. Buy what you need, right? But I bet there's people from 2020 toilet paper runs, they still got toilet paper in their house. Probably got masks all over too, but that's another story. Okay, now, so we got that. Can I move over to aliens for a minute? Based on newly released FBI files, anonymous female informant told officials in 1967 she feared for her life because others who had witnessed UFOs had died mysteriously. Here's this. Trump's alien files could shatter Christian beliefs. Churches should prepare for it, claim pastors. As early as just the other day, reports have emerged that U.S. intelligence officials held private briefings with a group of American pastors to prepare them for the potential public release of government files concerning UFOs, extraterrestrial life, and according to some claims, beings described as non-human intelligence. The purpose of the meetings were reportedly intended to prepare church leaders for a disclosure that could shake Christian foundations, with some pastors warned that the revelations could cause a crisis of faith and mass apostasy. Friends, the deception, this is another, I mean, how many things have we talked about already? The deception that is coming is going to be that something that you have never, ever witnessed before. At a time you have energy lockdowns, food shortages, hantavirus, you got to get the whoop, whoop. No doubt that's coming. I mean, you look at these things at a time when the world is against Israel. Are these things? Yeah. But the deception that's coming from this UFO stuff is going to be off the charts. Some church leaders, including Perry Stone and Alan Didio. By the way, Alan, I've done a few programs with him, and I love the information that he puts out. And so Alan says he has knowledge of me, so I need to call him. That's what I need to do. Find out what's going on. Suggested that what is being labeled as aliens, said Alan, might be interpreted through a biblical lens as demons in disguise or a strong deception. Yes, it's exactly what it is. Demons in disguise or a strong deception. There's another UFO project from back in the 1990s. I wish I could pull it up in my memory right now. I'm drawing blanks because it's been a couple of years since I looked at it. It was already developed by the government, and it was these kind of hologram kind of things in the 1990s that people that were involved said it seemed real in the 1990s. These hologram aliens and UFO things. Could you imagine right now if all of a sudden you saw, and this is in 1990, so 30 some years ago, how much more advanced technology is now, how much more easily people can be deceived. Remember, Jesus said the deception will be so great that if possible, even the elect would be deceived. Friends, it's not a coincidence that all of these things are happening right now. And I'm telling you, you have got to be prepared so you don't get deceived, so you don't get knocked off course, so you don't fall for these things. How many people fell for it the last time around? Massive amounts of people are going to fall for it again, especially when it comes with, we got this, and that, and food shortages. Oh, look at the aliens. Can you imagine a giant alien-looking thing? Could be a full-on hologram. I don't know what's been developed with some kind of creatures coming out. You don't think that would be deceiving? Comes down upon, or appears to come down upon Washington, D.C., the Capitol building? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but friends, deception is off the charts. Pastor Mike Signorelli claimed to have been in a private meeting where participants were told disclosure is coming, and many will be unprepared for what follows. Reports suggest, this is wild, the forthcoming files ordered to be released by President Trump could contain reports and videos of alien spacecraft and potentially suggest that these beings are responsible for human creation, a claim that would contradict traditional Christian doctrine. These claims follow President Trump's directive to federal agencies to identify and release government records on unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, and alien and extraterrestrial life. Okay, look at these things. I've gone long enough already. I wanted to go into Revelation chapter 6. I don't really think I have the time to do the whole thing. I don't have the time to do the whole thing, but I want you to think of this, right? Everything that we're witnessing, and then this full-on alien disclosure, I'm just saying be prepared and get ready. John writes, Revelation chapter 6, I'll just cover first couple of verses right on the white horse. Now I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard one of the four living creatures saying with a loud voice, like thunder, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a white horse, he who sat on it had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he went out conquering and to conquer. This white horse, he had a bow. Doesn't say he used arrows. We know that, and then he goes out conquering and to conquer. How does he conquer? Interesting. We know it's not through conventional weapons or war because the next horse, the red horse, takes peace from the earth. There's a fake peace, conquering and to conquer. Said this, remember, people were conquered in 2020, 2021. Remember what happened? Lockdowns, people locked down. Churches went into lockdown. Remember that? Full on. Obeyed. All of that stuff. Look, you go, wow. Conquering and to conquer. And then you revisit everything. And where does this go? Energy lockdowns, mega drought, food shortages, climate rules and laws. The previous pope and this pope. And what do you hear about? We need a single global government authority. And then you look at the aliens and you go, conquering and to conquer. I view the rider on the white horse as the beast system. Many of my colleagues say, is the Antichrist himself? Maybe. But Antichrist doesn't get his power until the beast system is formed and the 10 kings are in play first before they give their power and authority to the beast. Not until the 10 kings are in place when Antichrist comes on the scene. Nevertheless, we're not at the white horse yet. And we know from Revelation chapter 5 that before Jesus opens the first seal, the redeemed, all who are redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, are praising him for being the Holy One who is worthy. So that means we are in the presence of the Lord because we are the redeemed. We witness him loose the seals. So we are witnessing him. We're in heaven with him when the first seal is loosed. And then you have the rider on the white horse that appears. But friends, everything is going that way. They took names and numbers last time around. They're coming back. This is round 2. They're coming back with a vengeance. They're going to do everything they can to fix what didn't work last time. Look at all the different angles this time, baby, including aliens. You can't make this stuff up. Listen, so what are we supposed to do when we see all of these things happen? We remember, we got to put them all into the right frame of reference. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 25, the fear of man is a trap. Read it yourself. But it's the Lord who keeps us safe. So trust in the Lord. Don't be deceived. Don't live in fear. Don't do all these stupid things. As I mentioned earlier, for goodness sake, don't stock up on toilet paper. Just get what you need. Be smart. And so you look at this dynamic. The fear of man is a trap. They are trying to scare us. Don't panic. Be normal. I'm going to live my life. In fact, I'm going to enjoy my life, but I'm going to be aware. So be aware, all right? Be aware of what is happening. Be smart in what is happening. Be prepared. Lawlessness is going to abound. But we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus Christ, who is the author and finisher of our faith. Proverbs 29, the fear of man is a trap, but it's the Lord who keeps us safe. Jesus himself said in Luke chapter 21, verse 28. In fact, just before that in Luke 21, he said that men's hearts will fail them from the fear and expectation of what's coming on the planet. They're going to be afraid. Oh, by the way, we also have these fears of not just aliens, but asteroids are going to hit us. Comets are going to hit us. We're all going to die. Those things will happen during the tribulation period. But men's hearts will fail them from the fear and expectation of things that are coming upon the planet. Pandemics, wars and rumors of wars, aliens, asteroids, all of these different things, lockdowns, we're all going to die, we're all going to starve, all of these different things. And then Jesus said, but you, that's men who don't know the Lord, they're going to be afraid. But you, when you, if you know the Lord, see these things begin to take place, we are watching them begin. He doesn't say when you see them fulfilled, but when you see them begin to take place, look up and lift up your head because your redemption draws near. Lift up with expectation and joy. Jesus is coming here. So all of these things are a warning. And by the way, friends, it is not a coincidence that the world is against Israel. The world hates Israel, and that hatred towards Israel is growing. Antichrist is going to come on the scene and prepare to have a fix for everything that we just talked about, and also a fix for Israel. People are going to worship him. They're going to love him, right? That's still in the future, but we are being prepared. The masses of people are being prepared for that, right? For the one who's going to fix it. These things are done intentionally. The masses of the people are being manipulated. In Revelation chapter 1, the rider on the white horse goes about conquering and to conquer without using conventional weapons. How do you do it? Well, through everything that we just talked about. So what do? We look up and we lift up our head because our redemption draws near.